Have you ever stopped and wondered what really makes a brand stick in your head? Truly memorable? It's definitely not just a cool name or some pretty logo. No, it's a whole system, a carefully built experience that just connects with you. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on exactly how that's done. We're going to walk through the architect's blueprint for building a really powerful brand identity, right from the ground up.
All right, let's get into it. Here's our game plan. First, we'll talk about what a brand really is. Hint, it's way more than a logo. Then we'll get into the detective work of finding its core story. After that, we'll explore how to build it around one big, powerful idea, map out its grand entrance to the world, and finally, look at the cool tools we have today to bring it all to life. I mean, this is the big question, right? In a world where we are just bombarded with stuff constantly, how do you stand out? Well, the answer isn't about being the loudest, it's about being the clearest. It's about creating a feeling. Think about a brand like Apple. Everything from their products, the packaging, even their stores, it's all part of one cohesive world. That consistency, it builds a real emotional connection that makes the brand not just something you see, but something you feel. And that, right there, is how you get remembered. So, how do you actually create that kind of cohesive brand experience? Well, it all starts with a huge shift in how you think. You have to understand that a brand is so much more than just a pretty logo. The logo? That's just the front door. We're about to go inside and look at the whole building. Okay, let's break this down because the difference is massive. A logo, it's a single mark, it's one piece. But a brand identity, that's the whole language. It's the colors, the fonts, the style of photography, the way it talks, every single little piece working together in harmony. It's the difference between hanging a picture on the wall versus architecting an entire strategic system built for one thing, instant recognition. So if a brand identity is this whole complex language, where in the world do you even begin? You start with its story. And here's the secret. You don't make the story up. You find it, you uncover it. And the only way to do that is with some serious high-level research. Oh man, I absolutely love this quote from Ernie Schenk. It just captures the spirit of great research perfectly. It's not about checking off boxes or looking at boring data. It's an adventure. You're basically an investigator, and you're digging for that plot line, that authentic, juicy narrative that makes a brand unique. It's what gives it a soul. And these, right here, these are the tools you'll need for that investigation. Each one helps you solve a different piece of the puzzle. You've got research to understand both your audience's needs and what everyone else is doing. You dig into psychographics to figure out why people make the choices they do. You analyze competitors to find a unique space to win. This whole toolkit, it turns branding from pure guesswork into a smart, focused strategy. So once your research has dug up that core story, you've got your raw material. Now it's time to shape it into something amazing. It's time to find that big idea. And this is where we get into a principle that really changed the game for modern design. This concept is so incredibly important because it's what separates okay design from truly great, memorable design. Conceptual rigor just means that every single choice you make, every color, every line, every photo, has to be backed up by a strong central idea. You're not just making things look nice, you're communicating an intelligent concept that makes the work meaningful, not just pretty. And here is just a brilliant, classic example of this in action. For this magazine cover, the design firm Pentagram didn't just create a pretty picture about mail. They had a much bigger idea. They thought, what if the process of mailing the magazine, what if that became the design? The stamps, the postmarks, all the wear and tear from the journey. That was the cover. It's so strong conceptually because the idea and the final product are literally the exact same thing. Okay, so you've done the research, you've found the story, you've built this killer identity around a big, smart idea. Now what? Well, you have to introduce it to the world. And that introduction, the brand rollout, has to be engineered just as carefully as the brand itself. I want you to think of a brand rollout like a movie trailer. The trailer's job isn't to tell you the whole story, right? It's to give you this powerful, exciting sneak peek that gets you hyped for what's coming. The goal isn't to sell tickets right then and there. It's to build recognition and familiarity. You're laying that foundation of awareness before you ever ask anyone to buy a thing. And to be successful, that rollout needs to do 4 simple things, and only 4 things. You have to introduce what it looks like, you have to hint at its emotional vibe, you have to explain why it even matters, and you have to give people a clear next step. That's it. This is your essential checklist. You nail these 4 points, and your launch is going to make a real impact. So, now you know the 4 critical rules for a successful brand rollout. It's time to pick your tools. How are you actually going to communicate those 4 points? Well, in our modern world, this choice usually boils down to 2 really powerful categories: static media and dynamic media. Okay, so static media, that's your posters, your billboards, print ads. They establish this solid physical presence and just deliver their message all at once. Bam. Dynamic media, though, that's where things start moving. We're talking animated logos, videos, interactive stuff on the web, and these are absolutely incredible for creating an emotional connection because they tell a story over time. A truly masterful brand strategy doesn't pick one or the other, it uses both.
And let's just focus on motion for a second, because this is one of the most exciting areas in branding today. For so long, animation was just, decoration, something extra. But now it's a core strategic tool. Motion isn't just about what a brand looks like anymore. It's about how a brand behaves, how it feels. It gives a brand a real personality and brings it to life in a way a static image just can't.
This quote just nails the business case perfectly, doesn't it? In a world where everyone is fighting for a split second of your attention, motion is a superpower for cutting through all that noise. It's not some creative luxury anymore. It's a competitive necessity for any brand that actually wants to be seen, felt, and remembered. And that brings us right back to the beginning. This is the process. This is the architecture that separates the good brands from the truly great ones. Building a brand that actually lasts isn't some kind of magic trick. It's a deliberate, thoughtful journey from discovery through research to that spark of a big idea, and finally, a really smart, strategic introduction to the world. So I'll leave you with this one last thought to take with you. As you go out and build or work on a brand, ask yourself this question. Are you just pushing out messages? Or are you using every tool in the blueprint, from deep research all the way to dynamic motion, to build a cohesive, emotional, and totally unforgettable experience? Because in the end, that's what people truly connect with.